Hi guys. So in this episode we're going to focus on the front end of the website, and we're going to be using the page builder called Elementor. This is kind of my favorite part of the whole website building process. It's the most creative and can be the most fun. So what I always recommend to clients is that they should always draw what they're going to be building first. If you've got programs such as Photoshop, Illustrator, those kind of things, they can be a really good tool to lay out the structure of a website and see how it looks at a distance before you start building on the page. If you start straight away building on the page, you can kind of get a little bit confused with yourself, and also you start uploading images that you might not actually necessarily need in the final design. So it is always worth looking at the design off page, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, playing around with a bit of colors, and doing all that before you start building. There is actually a free, it's kind of like Photoshop, a free tool. It's called GIMP. So if you head over to gimp.org, and it's a free kind of like a Photoshop tool, and it will help you kind of build page layouts. I haven't used this myself because I use Photoshop and Illustrator, but I've got a few friends that have used this in the past, and they said it's quite good. Obviously not as good as Photoshop, but for a free service, it's pretty good. If you don't like working on computers and you prefer something a bit more tactile, just get a pen and paper. Just sketch something out, scribble around, see how it looks, draw a few boxes, create some lines with text just to see how it looks. So I designed this layout quite quickly, just using some free stock images. And it's come out okay. So I've tried to keep the color theme fairly kind of skin color throughout, and that was primarily based on the fact that the product shots that I wanted to use already had this palette. So I've built the website around that. But if always pick a color theme that suits your branding or your product that you're trying to sell, and build around that. So because it's skin, also these tones kind of lend quite nicely towards it. So, we've got the menu, which we've already started building. We've got our logo. We've got like a little search box here, as well as some icons. And then you come down to the main page, and you've got a bestseller, as well as a little promo banner to link them to the shop. A few promotional stuff, a couple more products, and then a bit of information about the brand itself, and a button to contact. And we then have a banner which will offer the customer something, a review to make it a bit more real, and then possibly a discount down here with a contact form and an image. We've already built the footer, so a lot of the work's already done. So in this episode, we're going to build most of this, except for the contact form. That'll be done in the next coming episodes. So I'm just going to open this up on my other screen. And here are the images here. They've already been compressed ahead of time. But as I said before, if you do need to compress your images, just head over to tinypng.com and drag and drop an image in, and it'll compress it for you. Download it, put it back in your file, and then upload it to your website as you normally would. So part of the plugin setup, we've already installed Elementor. It doesn't need any configuration, so that's pretty good. And the way you edit with Elementor is, again, just like with Yoast, it just mounts to the pages. So if you're making a blog, you'd go for posts, and if you're doing a website, you go for pages. So let's go into pages, take a quick look. So as you can see here, we've already got some pages pre-installed. So WooCommerce installs the cart, the checkout, my account, and also the shop. We've added an additional store here because we're actually going to change the store and make it look a little bit more appealing. And the additional pages we've added are the Contact Us, the home page, and the additional store. So we're going to look at the home page. So you click Edit. Now we'll come back and we'll do the SEO later. But for now, we're going to click this button at the top that says Edit with Elementor. So this is the page. Now the thing to remember with Elementor is that you have a side panel here, and in the side panel you have a lot of different options, and these options are called widgets. So with the basic Elementor, you get these ones free. These are paid for, so we're going to close them down. And there's some other general ones, as well as some advanced ones with the plugin that we added previously. So what happens is you choose an element and you literally drag it onto this page, and off you go. So the way the website works is that you have 3 tiers. Imagine them like layers to a cake. So the first tier is called section, and that runs here where the dotted lines are. Then within that section you have columns, which I'll add a few now. So you click that red button, and then these are the columns. So for our first page, right at the top, we're going to look to build this section here. So we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. So we select the one with 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there you can see our columns. So next we're going to find the widget we need, and we're going to drag it over into the space. So the first column is actually a blank column, so we don't need to do anything there. The next one is search for products. So let's type in search, and we can see product searches there. So drag and drop it into the bar, and as you can see, it's already in place. Next, we want to add another widget. So to access the widgets, you want to select this little dot at the top. So next is a icon, and the icon is for bestsellers. Now we can either do it as an icon and text, or we can set up something called a creative button. And what creative buttons do is that they allow you to add an icon next to it. Obviously we don't want an angry one because we would lose customers. So what we've done here is we've included that icon next to the text, so you can actually remove one of these columns. So let's get the button looking the right color theme. So to change things on the button, you have content, style, and advanced. The content basically deals with the information on the widget that you're editing. The style deals with the color, sometimes the alignment. And the advanced, you have different settings such as the margin and padding. So the margin and padding are quite important. The margin is the distance from the widget to the column. And if you were editing the column's margin, it would be from the column to the section, which is the blue line. And if you were editing the section's margin, it would be from the edge of the section to the edge of the page. Now the padding works slightly different. The padding works from the edge of the widget inwards. So let me show you what I mean by that. So at the moment they're linked together, which means if I increase it, everything will increase. So what we're doing is we're increasing the distance from the edge of this dotted line to the edge of this widget. So we're increasing it all by 8 every time. And as you can see, it moves it around. Now, if you want to just adjust the distance of one side, you click and that will unlink the values. So now as you add padding, you're only adding it to the left. So the way it works is that when you add padding, you're adding it to that side. So if I want to add 50 pixels to the left of this image, it's going to push the image to the right. So if you want to effectively move the image right, you have to add padding to the left, like that. So that's padding. Next, we're going to look at style. So this bit's quite self-explanatory. It's effectively the colors. So we're going to change the icon color's fine as white, and the text color's fine as white. What we want is we want to change the background color to this color that we've got here. So let's change the color of this button. So what you want to do is you want to come to background color, click the color box, and I've already got the hex code saved, so it matches all these colors that we've got here. Now what we can do is we can actually, if you click the color again, once you've got the color you're happy with, you can hit the plus button here and then add primary color. I just put primary color 1 in case there's more, and then hit create. Now what that does is that pre-saves that color. So when you add another widget in the future, you can actually automatically select that color. So let me show you what I mean. So we've just added that box there, background color, primary color 1. And as you can see, it's changed it there without having to go into here, put in the hex code, make sure the color's correct. It's just 1, 2, and it's changed. Very quick and easy. So the text says bestsellers. So we want to change the text. So the text is the information of that widget. So we always need to come to content, and we're going to put best sellers like that there. And then we want to change the icon to something a bit more appealing. So if we type in pound, we can change that now to bestsellers. And the icon's a little bit close, so let's just spread that out a little bit. So it's starting to look really good already. So head back over to style. Now, when you put your mouse over it, it changes red, and red isn't ideal. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the color when you hover over it, that it changes to a more appropriate color. So back into here, and I'm going to put in the second hex code that I've got. And as you can see now, when you hover over it, it changes color. We want to add this one again. So let's put primary color 2. So I feel like the button is slightly too big at this point. So we're going to make it a tiny bit smaller. So if you come down to button padding, unlink, and then let's just add maybe 10 to the top and also 10 to the bottom. So that's a much better size. Now, say for example, we make a mistake, and instead of undoing it here and changing the settings, you can actually come to history at the bottom and toggle between your previous changes. And then once we want to edit the widget again, you just click back on the widget. So now it's all starting to come together. I like the fact that this has got bestsellers, but the text font is a little bit too small. So let's change that. So what we want to do is we want to obviously come to style. Scroll down to typography and click the little pen there. And here you can change the size, the font. Sorry, here you can change the size, the font, and the weight. So let's make it a bit weightier. 700 is a bit much. Perfect. So we've got a really good button there. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually have this button go somewhere. So let's click update. So we've got it saved. And let's have a look at it on the front end. So at the moment we're in editing mode. So your website won't look like this. It'll look slightly different. So to see how it looks on the front end, click preview changes, which is a little icon. And as you can see here, this is how our site looks so far. So when you click the button, nothing happens. Doesn't take us anywhere. So let's have this button linked somewhere. So what we want to do is we want to go back into the back office. And we're going to create a new page called Bestsellers. So let's call it Bestsellers. Full width, and remove the title. Click publish and publish again. Edit with Elementor. So what we're going to do here is something a little bit advanced, but you don't need really that much knowledge for it. We're going to use something called a shortcode. Now, this shortcode will talk to WooCommerce, and it will basically figure out what are the top selling products on your page, and it will display them there so that you don't constantly have to keep changing it, and it's very automated. So obviously, if you don't sell any products, they'll just keep showing random ones till you start selling them, and then it will filter down. So we want to search in here for shortcode, grab it and drag it across. Now the next bit of code we want to put in here is square brackets, products, space, limit, equals, and then quotation signs, the number 5, end quotations, space, columns, equals, quotation marks 5, quotation marks, space, best, underscore, selling, equals, quotation marks, true, quotation marks, brackets. And as you can see, it's going to load 5 products that are our best sellers. And this does it all automatically, so we don't need to do anything, and it's really great. So click update, and let's see how it looks on the front end. So it looks pretty good. So when a customer comes to our bestseller, they'll see these pages here. You can add more images at the top to make it more visually appealing, but that's the bulk of the work done there. So what we want to do now is we want to link this button to this page. So how do we do that? Well, we need to get the page's URL. So because we're in editing mode, this bit we want to remove. So you want from the / question mark and everything before it, just copy that, and then come to your button, select your button, go to content, and in the link, paste it there. So let's update that. And now when we click bestseller, it takes us to the bestsellers. And then your customers can come home like that, back to your homepage. So now let's create another button here. We needed a button for on sale. So instead of doing that whole process again, there's a really easy shortcut. You just right click, duplicate, and then drag it over. Very easy, very quick. And we're going to put this one as on sale. And let's have a look at our icons. We've got quite a few to kind of trawl through. Possibly the shopping basket is a good one there. So we'll insert that on sale. We actually don't need this box, so we can remove that. And our website's starting to come together. So let's link this on sale to another page. So before we go anywhere, click update. Come back into the back office. Come to pages. And let's create a new page called on sale. Again, we want full width. Again, we want title disabled and publish and publish. We're gonna edit again with Elementor. and we're going to search for shortcode. Drag and drop it. In the shortcode this time we're going to do square brackets, products, limit equals quotation marks 5, quotation marks, space, columns equals quotation marks 5, quotation marks, space, order by, or one word, equals quotation marks popularity quotation marks space class equals quotation marks quick hyphen sale end quotation marks space on underscore sale equals quotation marks true quotation marks close square brackets. And you can see we've got here our sailed products. Now if you don't have any products on sale in your WooCommerce store, nothing will show here. So if you don't want to have products on sale, that's not a problem, just don't put them on sale. But this page will automatically generate you any products that you have on sale. So again, let's have a look at the front end. And similar to the last one, it looks very clean. So again, we want to find out where that question mark preview starts and copy everything before it. Copy it, head over to on sale and paste it there instead of the existing URL. So everything's coming together nicely. I do feel like these buttons could be positioned better. So what we want to do is you want to click a button and come to style. And we're going to align the button to the middle. And we're going to do the same with this one. So it's starting to take shape now very quickly, but we want this section to be aligned with these buttons. So because we've added the margin at the top, it's actually pushed the button down. So if we remove that, it heads back to the top and everything's aligned nicely. Again, we don't really want that right alignment because we want it centralized. And there we go. So the next section to our website we're going to create is we're going to have this section here and this section here. So these processes are actually very complex. We're doing like a major crash course through it, so don't worry if you don't understand it completely. Just follow it step by step, and hopefully as you do it, things will become slightly more apparent. So what we're going to do is we're going to create one column here, and that's going to have all this stuff here. We're going to create another column here, and that's going to have all the stuff inside it. So let me show you how that's done. So we're going to add 2 columns. And then within the column, we're going to put some text. So if you go to the widgets, find your text. Then we're going to upload some images. So let me upload all the images to from my fake site. So we've got this one. And as you've seen before, it's really easy. It's just a simple drag and drop. That one, and that one. So I think that's most of them. I've probably missed 1 or 2, but we can just add them later. So let them upload. Now this is why it makes sense to already have the images in your layout pre-figured out, because once you start uploading images here, it becomes very messy and hard to find. So you need a good, simple filing system. Say you want to delete something, you just select the image and you can delete it here. So if you remember in our SEO, we need to make sure that our alt texts are correct. So we're going to add alt text to all these images. So we want to put maybe if we want to optimize for a specific product, we would add a product, or if we want to optimize for a specific theme, we put the theme there. So in this, we're going to put skin creams. That's going to be our focus key phrase. So we're going to put model skin cream. Yep. And the next one we're going to put product shop of skin care, because it's not exactly the same. We want to have the focus key phrase as well as some additional LSI words, which are words that are similar. So we're going to do model, beauty, treatment, and then we're going to do model, love your skin, and then finally we're going to do group of models, moisturizer, cream. Now, if your image is purely visual and doesn't have any meanings, like this one here is Visa MasterCard, you don't need to put anything. It's not a problem. Google won't downrank you if you don't add them. What you want to do is only add alt text images to ones that are relevant. So now that our images are uploaded, we're going to add our first image here, which is this droplet one. So we've got that added there. Now, on the left here, you can see image size, and you can toggle between all your image sizes, and it'll display the ones that are the right size. So 1024 by 1024 is far too big, and it will really slow down your load speed. So just take it down to large, see how large looks. I think large is still too big, maybe. Take it down to medium. Now, with medium, it's too small, so we're going to increase the size a little bit. So as you can see there, it's really starting to come together now. You can change the width and the height here. You can also change the opacity, and you can also make it a boxed image if you want. We want something very minimal. So on our pre-made diagram, the image is actually aligned to the left. So let's left align it. And there we go. So we're going to add our text here, and it's going to say best seller. Now, remember from our SEOs, we want to make sure our HTML tags are correct, because if we put HTML tags that don't have anything to do with our focus key phrase, which is skincare, it will really confuse Google. So bestseller doesn't have anything to do with skincare. Let's pop it down to 6. But as you can see, it's gone quite small. So let's change how it looks. Style. We're going to add the primary color so it matches. And then typography, and increase the size. I want something with a bit more weight to it. There we are. If you wanted to change the fonts, you can do that there. It's quite easy. But I actually, 9 times out of 10, always build with default. It's nice and clean, minimal, and it's not going to confuse or distract your users. You can also change the text spacing. So somewhere around there looks quite nice. So now what we've done on the image is we have the next bit, which is a buy now. But that is inside the image. So there's more than one way to do that. So I'm going to show you one way first, and then when we build this, I'm going to show you a different way. So we want a button because we want it to link to a specific product. So let's come and get just a regular button this time. And in here, we're just going to write buy now. And we're going to find the product that we want to link it to. So let's go to our product page and find our products, which are here. Now, if you want to link it to a specific product, there's a really, really quick and easy hack. Find the product you want, which is this one. Right-click View. And what you want to do is copy link address. Stay away from copy, because that will just copy the word view. So you want to copy link address. Come over here and paste it in that section there. And that's pretty much it for that section. So let's move to style. So next, what we want to do is we want to make the font a little bit bolder, like that. Possibly a bit bigger, so it stands out. And we also want to remove this background. So background color, and you turn the opacity down to 0. Okay, so we can't really see our button now because it's white text, but we need the white text so it will show here. So now we want to move this button from here to here. So the way you do this is you go to Advanced, unclick, and then from the top you want to put minus, and that will raise it up like that. So you can either do it that way, or you select the image and you can raise the bottom like that, and your button will come into view there. So that's looking good now. We want to kind of highlight the button a little bit better so that when you hover over it, something happens and the user knows it is actually a button. So if you come to hover animations and grow, and then when they hover over it, it will grow. So let's have a look at that. Now, the reason why I'm working in several tabs is because when you hit the preview eye thing, if you keep that window open, every time you hit update, it'll automatically update that page. So here's how our page looks at the moment. So as you can see, if you hover over it and click buy now, it will take us to that product. So let's go back. But what happens if you hover over it and you want to click the image? Well, nothing happens. So let's add a link to the image as well. So even if the customer doesn't realize that you have to click here, if they click anywhere on this image, they'll be redirected. So select the image, content, and come down to link, custom URL, and just paste in that link from the shop. So for some reason it's gone really small. That's not a problem. Let's just increase the size back up a little bit. So it's been a bit funny. So we'll increase the size and then bring it down like that. So now when anyone clicks anywhere on this image, whether it's the button or the image, it'll link them to that product. But we want to highlight that even more. So let's come to style and come to hover. And what we want to do is we want to give it an animation again. So let's see what pulse grow looks like. It's a bit too much. I like things to be simple. Let's just stick to grow like that. So they know when they click that image, they go into that place. Okay, so now let's focus on the second section, which is this section here. And I'll show you how to create layers like we've done here. So for this case, we want to actually select the column. Now to select your column, you want to select this grey box here. Okay, so now we're going to add an image to this column. So let's click Style, come down to the pen brush thing here, and select your image. So that's actually added the image as a background layer to our column. So as you can see, the image is far too big, it goes off the screen, and also the column's proportions aren't the same as the one we've designed. So let's change the image so it's a more appropriate style. So we're going to change the position because the image is very weighted to the left, and then we're going to go no repeat, and then we're going to click contain. So now the image will be inside this column no matter what. So next, we want to make sure that this image fills this entire space. Now what's happening is that because of the image's shape and also the space the column has, it's not filling all the way to the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this column bigger and shrink this column down. So select your column, come to layout, and here you can see column width. So if you start hitting this, it should begin to increase your column size, and just increase it till you get to the bottom. Click update, and let's see how it looks on the front end now. There we go. So it's starting to come together. Now I personally feel that maybe this space here is a bit too big, so let's look at increasing that space a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to increase this a bit more, and increase our column size so that it's full image again. Let's click update and see how we look. Yeah, much more professional now. So it's nice and even. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start adding the text. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the text we want, add it there, and we're going to type in "love your skin." The text is actually aligned to this side, so change the alignment this way. Now this is related to creams, so H2 is fine, H3 would be okay as well. And we're going to change the font type. So let's add the color. Our color is a slight off-white. I'm just going to pull up the hex tag, paste that in there. There we go. And we're going to increase the size. So let's make it much bigger. So we've actually got "love your" and then "skin" as a separate text line. So the easiest way for beginners is just to duplicate it, remove that, remove that. So I'm just going to pull up hex tag for "skin," and the hex tag for "skin" is that one there. I'm actually going to save this one as dark. Primary color dark, because we need this one later. So again, let's make it bigger. And it's a lot heavier weight than the one we've currently got. Something like that. Pull in the letter spacing a little bit. And we're getting somewhere. So if you look at the one we've got, we're getting quite close. So there's actually a margin down the side of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to column, select the column, and then we're going to go to padding. And what we're going to do is we're going to add padding, which is the edge of the column inwards, to the right hand side. And as you can see, the text starts to move. Now we're going to add padding as well to the top. And let's change this text. So the weight is too heavy for me. So let's go 500, much better. And increase the size slightly. So now we've got a big gap, and in our pre-made image, the gap is much smaller. So you can either adjust the line height here, or go to advanced, deselect these, and change the bottom margin, and that will pull up the skin. Skin is too large, so select skin and just reduce that size a little bit. I'd like to tuck it in a bit more to the text, like that. Again, the gap could be increased a bit more. Let's increase that, and a bit more to the right as well. So update. And let's have a look at the front end. So it's starting to look really good. So next we want to add that button. So come back to your editor, find your button, and drag it into your section there. Align it to the right. And we're actually going to use this color here. So let me save this one as primary skin light. And let's add that color to the background. You can quite quickly see how this can be built much quicker once you've got all the prep work in. There we go. So the word we use is shop now. And we want to link it to our store, not our shop, because we're going to create an additional store. So if we head to pages, and you want to find the store page, right click view, copy link address, and paste it in there. So that will now link us. We want to increase the text because the text is far too thin. There we go. And on our image, the button is almost completely round and the text is actually a bit bigger. So let's make the text bigger. And we're going to make the button almost round, so oval shaped. So we're increasing the border radius till it becomes nice and oval shaped. And now we want to drop it to the bottom. So to do that, we have to add margin to the top. Let's move this down a little bit more as well, and a bit more to the right. And just keep adding some more margin to the top of that. Brilliant. Let's make the button a little bit bigger. So we're going to increase the text size, so it's a bit more noticeable. Also, when you hover, it grows. There we are. You can also change the color, so when you hover over it, it can maybe go a darker color. So let's change the background color, select the one we currently have, and just drop it down a little bit so it changes color. Hit update, and let's see how it looks on the front end. So it could drop a little bit further, I feel, to possibly be in line with the buy now. Somewhere around there. So that's looking really good. So now what we want to do is align all these columns up here with our columns down here. So this one will need to increase. Align it to there. And then we're going to work it backwards so that these all fit in nicely. So just keep adding it till it sits nicely in the box. And the same with this one as well. And we're going to increase the size of this. Like that. So let's update and see how it looks. So it's beginning to get the feel of a real website now. The next thing I want to focus on is this. These are all in a line and they look really nice, but this feels a bit out of place. So when our customers come to search, they can type in here and just hit enter and it will take them to that product. So we don't actually need this search box. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to remove it. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this section up over this search box to hide it. So select the section. Now, the way to do that is you hover over the section and you select this little blue bit here. Go to advanced, unlink them, and just minus the top till it raises up and hides it. So looking at it now, the best sellers could be a bit slimmer, so everything's kind of in line with this. Now, I feel that it's probably the icon that's making it look a bit bulky. So select the button, come to style, and in the icon size, let's just drop it down till it falls in line. So 20, and we want to change this one to 20 as well. Hit update, and let's see how it looks. There we go, much better. So these will all link you to shops. We haven't built the shop yet, so we'll get around to that. And these will link you to the best sellers, on sale, and buy it now for this product specifically. Next, we're going to create this banner that goes all the way through the middle. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new section, which is going to run all the way along like that. And then we're going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. So let me show you how to do that. So add new section, 6 columns. So at the moment, if you select this section, you can see it's boxed. The content width is boxed. And what that means is that the content width goes to here and there's this padding between the edge of the page and the start of the section. Now on our image, this runs from edge to edge. So we want to change that from boxed to full width. and now that'll run all the way across. So we've already selected the section, so let's change the background. So style, change the color, and I've not added it yet, so let me just get the hex code. And let's add the color. So there's the color there. I'm going to add that. And click create. So we've got a banner that runs all the way across. So now we're going to create an icon with some text. So let's get our icon. And we want our icon to be circular, so click stacked, like that there. So we'll select our icon, go for truck, that one looks okay. And we're going to decrease the size. Like that. Next, we want to change the color. So the primary color we're going to set to that light color, and then the secondary color we're going to set to that dark color. Actually, let's see how it looks the other way around. Yeah, much better. And then we're going to decrease the column width and add some text there like that. Now the text is going to run as default at the top of the column. So let's select the column. And here you've got vertical align. You can change that to middle. So now the text is along the middle, so it'll all be in line. So we're going to put free delivery. And we're going to change the HTML tag to 4 because it's not important. We're going to change the color, increase the weight, and the size a little bit. There we go. So like we did before, we could build the whole thing, but the easiest way is to just duplicate it. So looking at it now, I think we could actually change the color icons to match the text like that. And I think like that would look much better. Yeah. So if you duplicate the columns, what will happen is you'll lose your column widths. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate the widgets like this, drag it over, and then duplicate this widget here as well, like that. Change the column to middle, and this one is going to be called cruelty free. So type in cruelty free. And let's see what animals we have. There we go. We'll use that for now. They're probably better ones, but it just speed things up. We're going to decrease the column size. And I'm going to actually align this that side. So let's duplicate that. Duplicate that. And we're going to decrease the size of that and move that one to the middle. So the next one is 30-day returns. And we're just going to use this icon to speed it up. So let's click update and see how it looks. There we go, looking good. So this space here needs a lot more work doing to it. So we're going to decrease this and increase this to push this that way. Gone too far, so let's move back. So let's increase this a bit. To the right. Increase this. Decrease this. And decrease this. See how that looks? Much more centralized now. You can spend a lot of time playing around with that, but I feel like that's okay for now. So what we want to do next is increase the size of the margin between the edge of this section and the section above it. If we look at the mock-up, we can see here we've got a bit of padding either side. So let's add that. And I think probably 50 will do it. Yep, look at that, nice and even. So what we've done is, because they're linked, we've added 50 this side and 50 this side. So next we're going to focus on the section below it. And this section here is one section. And what we're going to do is we're going to create one column, which is going to have this text in it. And then we're going to create 4 inner sections to hold these elements here. So let me show you how that's done. So create a new section, single column, and we're going to use this text. Pop that in place. In the middle. So now this text has nothing to do with our focus key phrase. So let's crank it back down to H6 and decrease the size a little bit. Font's a bit heavy. 700 looks great. So now we want to create these inner elements. As you can see here, we've got 4 columns. Now you can actually create columns within columns, and these are called inner sections. So when we return to our widgets, we can see inner section. So drag it and drop it. It'll automatically create 2, and we want 4. So next we're going to add the product image. Drag that over. And as you can see here, it's gone in the column above. So we want it to be inside this inner section here. So drag it till you see it in blue and let it appear there. So these images are high res. Let's see if we can put them in at 300. First is this one. And that looks pretty good. Next we want to add a buy now button. So let's duplicate this and drag it into the inner section here. Remove any margin. And we're going to align it there like that. So on our drawing that we've pre-made, the font's a little bit fatter. So I'm going to increase that font size like that. And the shape of the button isn't as round. So we're going to decrease the border radius till we get something like that. And we're going to use this darker color. The button also says buy now. So what we want to do is we want to link this button to this product. So if we open up a new tab, head to our back office, and we want to head over to products. Locate the product we want, so we're going to be linking it to this product here, and you want to right click view and copy link address. Not copy, but copy link address, and that will copy the URL like that. So let's click update and see how that looks on the front end. So we've got a nice bit of spacing. This looks pretty good, and if we click this, it takes us straight to the product. Nice and simple for the customer. So now instead of duplicating each individual element, we're going to duplicate the column 4 times. And we're going to remove these blank ones like that. And I'm going to change all the products images to match the ones that we have on our edit. As well as changing the button links. Like that. On the front end, I'd like to increase this gap a little bit more. So we're going to increase the padding at the top just to push everything down and give it a bit more breathing space. So that's all good. Next, we're going to add this next section, which gives us a bit of company information. So what we've got here is we've got one column with an image in it, one column with 2 headers and text, and then this is 2 inner sections here, one with a header and then the other one with a contact us button. So let's do that. So add new section, new column. Now we want to change the column width to 40, so you select the column with the grey square here and hit 40. So that'll put this at 40 and automatically put this one at 60. Drag the image over, and we want to change the image to the one that we've got. Let's see how small we can get it. Brilliant. And next we're going to add the text. So we're going to duplicate this. And we're going to do that twice. So in the top one, we're going to put become a beauty align it to the left. Make sure that we change the H tag because beauty is associated to skin. So we can put that at H3. And we want to make the font a little bit lighter. And we're going to change it to primary color 2. I think the font might be too light there. Let's make it a little bit heavier. Brilliant. And we're going to do the same here to warrior. Now, warrior has nothing to do with our key phrase, so we can keep that as is. The weight is a lot heavier, and we need to increase the size a smidge. The line height can be reduced, so let's bring it in a bit closer. And we'll increase that a bit more. So now the height between the top of this and the top of the text on our image is a bit lower. So we're going to add a top padding to about there. And we're going to add left padding to move it right so that it just gives our image a bit of breathing room like that. Next, we're going to add our text. So come to Widgets, Text Editor. Now, Text Editor is what your Yoast will analyze to make sure that you are SEO fit. Now, you do want to include in the first kind of paragraph on your page your focus key phrase, as well as at the start of that paragraph. Because this is the first one, obviously we want to include that in here. For the demonstration video, I'm just going to keep this text as it is, but it's something to bear in mind. We want to include a bit of padding to the right as well, just to tuck in that text. Like that. And then next we want to make sure that the text is aligned justified, so it's nice and neat, like that. So now we need to create the two inner sections that we have here. So head to Widgets, inner section, and drag it into that space like that. Going to duplicate this text, drag it down here, and we're going to put join our tribe. Now, obviously, it has nothing to do with skin, so we're going to keep that as H6. Remove the margin. And we're going to decrease the font size to something a bit more appropriate. Again, the font's a bit heavy, so maybe reduce that. And we're going to lighten the text to that. We're going to create a Contact Us button. So we're going to duplicate this one. Going to drag it down, and we're going to paste it into this column here. Remove the top margin, and we're going to align it center. So let's change the name to Contact Us. And we're going to find our Contact Us page. So in your back office, head to Pages. Find the Contact Us page. Right-click View. Copy link address. Paste that into that box like that. So I think we need to make the color a little bit darker on this box because it doesn't quite fit with the colors around it. Something like that looks nice. And we're going to move this whole section down a little bit so it's in line with the image a bit more tidily like that. Let's hit update and see how it looks. So the website's starting to come together. I feel like we need some more gaps between here and between here, so let's add those. Select the intersection and add margin to the top. Select the section, and we want to keep it linked because I want it on both sides, so let's add 50. Next, we want to add this banner for an exclusive offer all the way across. So let's do that. It's just one section, so this bit's quite easy. Add new section. Let's change the background to primary banner color. And because we're using white text, we're going to make it a little bit darker, like that. So let's use the text that we're using up here. By using the same text over and over again, it just creates a bit of continuity throughout your pages, so it's always worthwhile doing. So we've got exclusive offer. It doesn't have anything to do with our key phrase, so take that down to H5, and let's make that white. Next, we're going to add some text, so let's duplicate our text. Drag it into here. Because it's centralized, we're going to center it and make our text white. It's still a little bit hard to read, so let's make the weight a little bit heavier. Next, we want to bring this text in a little bit so it's not as long. So we are going to add padding to the section. So select the section, add the padding. And next we want to add padding to the top. So let's add 50 to the top and 50 to the bottom. So that's our banner put in place and everything's starting to come together nicely. So let's look at the next section. And here we have our review. So we've got the model photo, which will be in one column. Then we have another column here, and then we're going to create an inner section with two elements like that. So let's take a look. So we're going to add two columns. And in the first one, we're going to include an image, drag that over. We're going to select our model, which is this woman here. Insert that. And we're going to try and get the best resolution on the smallest amount that we can. Perfect. Select the image. And we're just going to keep racking up the border radius till eventually it turns into a circle. Like that. Align the content to the right. Then we're going to add our inner section. In this, we're going to add our text. So let's duplicate this text. And the name of our fake reviewee is Alice Lee. And then if you go to your widgets and search for star, you can see there's a star rating there. Drag that over. And we're going to change the color to match our color scheme a bit better. Increase the size. And we're going to align that into the middle like that. Let's adjust the column width like that. Next, we're going to add the text. So let's duplicate our text. And just drag it down. A lot of the times it gets a bit funny if you want to add stuff below an intersection. So 9 times out of 10, it prefers it if you add it to the top. So just add it to the top, grab the intersection and drag it up. So let's hit update and see how it looks on the front end. So it's looking good. So we want to reduce this down because it's far too big. So let's hit update again. So now, because we've created a boxed area, what's happened is that it creates an area from here to here, and the rest is all padding. So we want to kind of squidge all this in so it's a bit more closer to the center. So we select the section and then we just drag it in like that. Let's give her a little more there, and just keep adjusting the settings till you get something that looks nice. So we're going to add margin above and a bottom like that. Now the next section we're going to look at is this 10% off banner. So what we've got is one column here, and this column's got an image inside it, and then we've got another column here with your text and your button. So let's apply that. So new section, 2 columns. We're going to change the background now. Select the section and let's paste in that hex code. Next, we're going to add the image. And we'll change it to the image we're looking for, like that. So the color's slightly off. You could spend a bit of time playing with it, but let's just try and resolve that a bit quicker. somewhere around there. And we're going to duplicate this text for 10% off. Remove the margin and duplicate this text for your first order. And align that to the right. So the HTML tag's fine on this one, and on this one it's also fine. So we're going to add a bit of padding to the top, so select the column and add padding to the top like that, and a little bit to the left to push the text right. Now we're going to draw these in a bit closer. So let's reduce some of the margin at the bottom, and that'll bring that up like that. Next we need a Shop Now button, so let's select that, duplicate, drag it down and drop it there. Align to the left, and let's bring the top down to 50. And that's pretty good. Let's see how it looks on the front end. Looking good. So next we want to create this diagonal line that cuts across. It just breaks up the page a little bit and gives the illusion of extra layers. So this is a section in itself, and we've got one column here and one column here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create this color here, and then we're going to reduce the top margin so it pulls this section up and overlaps this section here. So let me show you how that's done. So add, we need 2 columns. We're going to change the style, and this time we want gradient. Set the top one to white and remove all the color. And the bottom one we want to set to our primary color 2. So we haven't created a form yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to input the image there just to kind of give it a placeholder so we can see how it would look when the form is actually in place. And then we're going to add our other image and our text. So there's our other image. And we need another heading there, but let's grab one from here. This Alice Lee looks a nice size. Bring it down, drag and drop. So the brand name is CBD Pod, and we're going to make that white like that. So now what we want to do is we want to create a bit of padding to the top and bottom. So we're going to create that. So let's give it a 100 and the bottom also 100. Head back to style, and when we're in color gradient here, we want to change it from this kind of even color fade to a sharp color fade. So we do this by adjusting the location. So you put that one at 0, and then you bring this down, and now as you can see it's a solid line. So we want to create a diagonal, so we're going to change the angle. So let's put it at 78, and we've got a nice sweeping angle there. This can be put to the bottom, and we want a bit more space between the white and our lettering. So let's add a bit more padding to the top there like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to reduce the top margin, and what that will do is it will pull this whole section up and place it over the section above it. So you just slowly reduce it. till you get somewhere that looks about right. And that looks pretty good. I think we need a bit more padding at the top. And a bit less padding here. Let's click update and see how that looks. And that's pretty much our homepage laid out nicely. It's looking nice and clean. It's got a kind of a very nice color theme to it. Lots of different layers, creating depth. And it's very clear. So in the next episode, we're going to look at how to format it for tablet and how to format it for mobile. Because if we look at mobile, for instance, as it is at the moment, it's not laid out very well. All the text is squished and it still needs adjusting. So that's what we're going to cover in the next episode.